Hi, I'm Monica Shah with Revenue Breakthrough, and this is the Make More Money series. Now, in today's video, I am talking about answering the eternal question that so many of my clients have, which is what do you do if you're geographically isolated and you can't really get somewhere quick to generate clients? How are you supposed to make money? And I'm going to be providing you with the 4 steps, my pull method, for you to get clients no matter where you are. And without these steps, it's so much harder to get clients, and the likeliness is you just won't get as many. Now let's get into the content for today. I want to specifically tell you that I'm answering this question from Ken Mossman. He's one of my clients. And he says, I'm somewhat isolated geographically. Where do I need to focus my time, energy, and attention to grow my presence and my list when I'm 3 hours away from any major metropolitan area? Now, I know that question isn't just for Ken. I know many of you have that same concern. And it may not be that you're geographically isolated 3 hours away. Maybe you're geographically isolated because you're taking care of a young child and you just can't get out as much as somebody who has their children that are older or doesn't have children at all. Or maybe you are taking care of a sick parent. Maybe you're a caretaker. And so therefore you just need to be more homebound than most people. So I have to tell you, I think you're going to love some of the things that I have to say, and you're going to hate some of the things I have to say. And either way, I'm here to tell you the truth as I see it, give you my experience from having done this business for over 15 years and served thousands of clients. And I really want to make sure you move forward. So let me explain my pull method. P-U-L-L. This is how you're going to start to really pull in clients, no matter where you are geographically, no matter where you're constrained around needing to be in your home. The P stands for planning. And what I mean by planning is that, that you want to make a plan for yourself to make sure that you're doing the right activities to pull clients in. Now, the top 3 ways to pull clients in are speaking events, sponsorships, and doing webinars. Now, the webinars piece, it's going to take you a little time to get the webinars off the ground because you want to have a larger list. Now, you might be thinking, but Monica, I can't do speaking and sponsorships because I live really far away. That moves into the U. The U stands for understanding. So here's what I mean by understanding. The thing to get with any business, especially a service business that you're starting at home and it's just about you, is that you're going to get sources from 2 different places, offline and online. Offline sources are things like you get your leads from speaking, from sponsorships, from networking, from going to events. This is local offline ways. Online ways are things like getting your leads from social media, from webinars, from videos that you post, doing things in an online way. When you're first starting your business, it is difficult to pull in warm leads from offline sources, from things like webinars and videos. Why? Because when you're doing webinars and videos, those leads, the people that see those, they just don't know you as well. So even if they ask to do a sales conversation with you, you're not as likely to convert them to be clients. And it's just a simple human nature thing. The offline pieces, things like speaking and sponsorships, when you meet people, you get that eye-to-eye connection. And that eye-to-eye connection builds trust so much faster. So your conversion rate is going to be a lot higher from an offline source than an online source. So what that means is that if you're just dependent on online sources and you're not planning to leave your home at all to build your business, it's going to take you a lot longer to get clients. You're going to have to do a lot more sales conversations. Your conversion rate will be lower, and it may be more frustrating for you because you're going to get a lot more no's. Like, for example, one of my clients builds her business through Facebook ads, and she spends a lot of money on the Facebook ads. People come in to talk to her, and her conversion rate is somewhere between 1 out of 15 15 and 1 out of 12, which means she has to have 12 to 15 sales conversations in order to get one client to convert. And that, I mean, you got to have a tough skin to be able to have 12 to 15 sales conversations for one client to convert. Most of my other clients who are getting a lot of their leads from places that are offline, like speaking and sponsorships, they're able to convert 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4, which means you have 3 or 4 conversations and you get one client to convert. Even 2 conversations and getting one client to convert. And that's a lot less frustrating. And depending on where you are in your business, you may need the confidence of getting some more easy yeses before you can really feel confident about building and growing your business. So the understanding piece is understanding that even if you're geographically isolated, you're still going to need to find a way to go out there and get speaking events and sponsorships. And that leads us to L, which means locate. Locate. And what I mean by locate is locate speaking events and sponsorships in the same geographic area that is either within driving distance or flying distance from your home. This is how so many of my clients have done it. So I had one client who lived in Miami, and she just was isolated there. A lot of her particular target market wasn't there, but she had to be there because her husband was getting his PhD there in Miami. And so what we did with her is that every quarter she would get on a plane and she would fly to a city, a major city. And it wasn't random. She planned it, right? She followed the first P. And so maybe she would pick New York. She would fly to New York. When she got to New York, she would do 3 speaking events in New York, 1 sponsorship in New York, see some friends, hang out, have fun, get a bunch of leads, and then go back home to Miami. And then she didn't travel again for the next 3 to 4 months. And then when she traveled again, she would do the same thing. So the key is to locate speaking events and sponsorships that are in the same area, in the same time frame that you are traveling, so that you only have to travel once. I do this a lot before my big events. I'll do a bunch of small speaking events. One of my largest events of the year is in Atlanta. When I'm preparing to go to Atlanta, I'll schedule a bunch of small speaking events in the Atlanta area prior to that event. And I'll spend a week, sometimes 2 weeks down there, speaking, traveling, and generating so many connections and leads and possibilities and opportunities that I come home and I'm able to navigate here from New York. Now, I mentioned a week or 2 being in that place. It doesn't have to be that you stay a week or 2. A lot of my clients do this from Friday to Monday, and then they're back home with their families. And I know for many of you, you might be thinking, well, that's super expensive. Like, I can't do a plane ride right now. That's okay. Try driving distance first. I have a client that does this. She just drives 3 hours. She plans a bunch of speaking events and sponsorships. She usually gets 1 night in a hotel, so she doesn't have to drive back and forth. And then she drives back. So just anywhere that you can get, it's all about the planning piece, planning and locating them to be around the same time frame. And I do want you to know that this is going to take some work ahead of time. So we normally start doing things like this for me 6 to 10 months before I'm planning to go. So I do this all the time. Like when I'm going to go visit my dad who lives in Cincinnati, I like to plan events in Cincinnati, but I'll often plan them 8 to 10 months out because that's when these things fill up. They fill up. Organizations are getting speakers 10 to 12 months ahead of time. Sometimes you can get it 6 to 8 months ahead of time, but you want to be thinking right now, what are the trips I want to take 6 months from now? What are the trips I want to take 8 months from now? And how can I organize speaking events and sponsorships in that area? And one really sneaky ninja trick alert, it's coming. You don't have to have official events, meaning you could just connect with people who live in that area. Let's say you're going to Atlanta. You could connect with people in Atlanta who know people in Atlanta and do what I call living room events, which means you go and you do a presentation in that person's living room, and that person invites all their friends, and people that are in your target market to their living room, and you do a presentation. Even presentations that you're doing in front of 4 people, 6 people, 8 people is going to be more than doing nothing in your home. Now let's go to the final L, and this is where you're going to fall back in love with me. If those of you that are watching this are like, oh, I don't want to do any of that other stuff. The final L is about list building. So if you're someone that just, whether you want to go out and you like my first ideas and you're willing to take these trips in order to build, or whether you're not, either way, you're going to want to start to do list building. List building is building your online email list so that you don't have to leave your home. Often I get new clients and I ask them, how big is your newsletter list? And they say, oh, it's huge, it's no big deal. And I say, great, how big is it? And they say 500. Now, I want to honor you because 500 is a great number. But what I want you to know is that in the world of online marketing, 500 is a drop in the bucket. In fact, you're not even going to see much impact of sending anything to your list, any emails, any newsletters, until you hit at least 1,000 people on your list. And truly, what you really want to be hitting is 5,000 and 10,000 people on your list. Why? Because of the numbers and the way they work out. You know, when you send an email out and it has an offer, you're lucky to get between 1% to 3% of your entire list to act on that offer. 1% to 3%. And if you think of these tiny little numbers like 100 and 500 people on your list, normally what that means is nobody's acting on your offers. So if you are someone who has the intention of being able to work from anywhere around the world, being geographically isolated, not leaving your home for whatever particular reason, then you gotta start really working on building that email newsletter list. And there's lots of ways to build a list. There's organic ways like getting leads from speaking and sponsorships, and then there's more inorganic paid ways like getting leads from Facebook ads, getting leads from paid ads like Twitter and Pinterest as well. And I'm going to do a whole future video on list building. But what I want you to focus on is really building that list up now, because I see way too many business owners who just avoid building their list. And then 5 years down the road, when they really want to be able to expand, not worry so much about the offline marketing, be able to work from home, they can't because they've got this tiny list. And really, list building takes anywhere from really to get that first 5,000, it's going to take you 2 to 3 years. So you want to start now with that list building piece. All right, everyone, just as we complete here, P stands for planning, which is really planning out your speaking, your sponsorships, your webinars. U stands for understanding that you're going to need to work both offline and online. L stands for locating events in the same geographic area so that you can fly or drive and still do a bunch of little events. And L, the final L, stands for list building, which is really focusing on list building now so that ultimately down the road you really can have freedom geographically. And with that, my wish for you as always is to use this material, go take tons of actions, make tons of money, and make this world a better place. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up below. And also while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe so that you can get future videos from me. And when you do subscribe, turn on the notifications button so that when I do a future video, you'll know about it. And please leave me a comment or a question. I'm always looking for new ways to do things or to answer your questions. And finally, please share this with your friends and know that we have future videos coming up. And while you're in the comments, know that there's a resource there for you to be able to click on and get even more support in this particular area. Thank you.